All right, guys, if you've been thinking about better ways to build sales through your website, you've probably heard about this idea of a sales funnel, which just generally speaking is a guided path to get people from the front page all the way to a sale as quickly as possible. And if you've heard about that, you've definitely heard about Clickfunnels, which a lot of people think is this amazing platform, the premier place to go to get absolutely guaranteed sales. But I have to ask myself, I can't help it, is it really a place that you can go to guarantee yourself sales? I mean, the price tag is pretty high, so it would have to be. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna compare it against WordPress based on 5 different things. I'm gonna look at price, setup complexity, template choice, ease of use or flexibility, and the ecosystem around the product itself. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, guys, so before we start talking about ClickFunnels or ClickFunnels alternative, make sure that you subscribe and then you hit that bell so that you can make sure you get updated every single time that I send out a new video. All right, so just before we jump into price, I have to tell you, I have a bias. I do not like ClickFunnels. I've worked with it with a lot of different clients in a bunch of different areas. I've done course learning with it, basic landing page setup, e-commerce. It just doesn't have what it needs. So I'm biased right up front. I just want you to know that, but I'm gonna try and be as objective as possible. Okay, so let's go. All right, so price. Let's start with ClickFunnels. So ClickFunnels has 2 separate packages. There's a $97 option and a $297 option. That is like the Grand Canyon of gaps between those 2 pricing options. What's $97 times 12?
The answer is about $1,160 US.
That's a lot, okay. Okay, what's 297 times 12?
The answer is 3,564.
That's a lot. So let's start with the $97 option. What do you get? You get 20 funnels. So that's 20 different layout setups. So between your front page and then all the other pages, 100 pages total between those funnels, 3 payment gateways, a free domain, hosting and contact management. Great. $297 option. You get all of that I just mentioned in the $97 option, but you also get mass and automated emailing and some analytical stuff that you don't really see in the original one. That's the Actionetics that you've heard of before. Okay, so let's look at WordPress pricing now. So WordPress is free. So that's nice, but if you actually want to get any use out of it, you probably need a few other things to go along with it. So let's take a look at what those are. Otherwise, you might as well just have a Blogger or a LinkedIn or something. So the first thing you need is a domain, right? So that domain is going to run you probably around 15 bucks a year. I mean, if you want to, you could pay 30,000 for a domain, but you still have to pay 15 a year. So let's just go for 15 a year. Then you need some hosting. So you need a place to actually store your data that people are gonna look at. So you're looking at either $7 or $5.50 a month, depending on what you go with. We're gonna pick SiteGround because that's about $7 a month, and that's a pretty good one. So I'd say we should go for that. So that's $84 a year. And then you need a theme. So the theme is just kind of what the look and feel of your WordPress is going to be like, because you don't want it to just be the basic HTML outlook or the basic theme that comes with it. You can go with free themes if you want to, but a lot of the time those are slower, so that's bad for SEO. And honestly, it's everybody can use those, so it's not as good. I would say it's probably worth it to pay for a theme. You only have to pay one time, and it's a done deal. So pay once for a theme, it'll be upwards of 100 bucks. So let's just call that a $100 one-time fee. So you need a way to check out, right? So you need a way to get people to go through a purchase process. So you'll need something like WooCommerce or WP Crafter on here talks about cart flows. I think that's his company, which has a lot of that same ClickFunnels functionality kind of built into it, easy payment processing, order bumps, etc. Let's just call it, I mean, WooCommerce is free, cart flows is $2.99 a year, but with WooCommerce, you still have to pay for a lot of add-ons. So it's like add-ons to your add-ons. So let's just go for $2.99 a year just to keep it simple. We'll go with that for cart flows. And then the last thing that we need for a ClickFunnels alternative setup is an emailing system, because ClickFunnels itself says that it has email baked in, and for the $297 level it does. So I'm gonna suggest that you look at ActiveCampaign. For me, this is the best service that I've found for email. It has awesome contact management and list building. It has a great CRM for dealing with your deals and moving your contacts through sales cycles. And for the price point, the best automations in the business. I mean, HubSpot does it better, but HubSpot is also ridiculously expensive. So that's $588 a year if you're paying at the second level and you have under 1,000 contacts. So let's just assume that that's what you're at for now. So Clickfunnels was $3,564 for that $297 package, and WordPress for getting the same amount of functionality is $1,086. So let's just do that math real quick and see what that comes out to. Hey, what's 3,564 minus 1,086?
The answer is $2,478.
$2,478 savings. Already a good start. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, on the price, we're gonna give that point to WordPress. Okay, so setup complexity. With ClickFunnels, setup is actually pretty simple. I know I'm biased, but I have to give credit where credit's due, and on ClickFunnels, the setup is really not that bad. I mean, it kind of makes you think of your website as a group of pages that have a specific purpose, and so you build a funnel, you put some pages in there, you use their easy plug and play builder, and then you just kind of slap things in. And then when you need to email people, if you have that $297 plan, you've got all your contacts right there anyway, and so you can just use them directly in the email system straight from your contacts list, and you can put them in and send them on their way. There's a couple of deliverability issues with email. I'm a little bit sensitive on that issue, but generally speaking, it's super simple. I mean, it's just build your pages, slap them in. You can have a funnel up in like an hour or two if you want to. All right, so WordPress is a little more complex. Your WordPress site alone isn't enough. So when you first install that brand new application for WordPress and you get onto the back end, you're like, what am I looking at? You don't understand it. You don't know what the best plugins are, especially if you've never worked with WordPress before. You don't know that Elementor is the best way to build your website, or that WooCommerce or Cartflows might be the best option for you, or how to set up a payment gateway. I've been working with this for a long time, since I was like 16. So I have a pretty good idea of how this works at this point, but it doesn't have to take you 15 years to figure it out. What I'm saying is that it just takes a little more time than ClickFunnels. So if you want a system that's plug and play, that you get on and 20 minutes later you have a website that's ready to go and you can start marketing it to people right away, then go with ClickFunnels. But if you're looking for something that is a little more flexible, takes a little bit more time to understand though, then you probably want to go with WordPress. So I have to say, for ease of use and that kind of quick, ready to go-ness, I have to give it to ClickFunnels. All right, let's look at template choice. This is the meat and potatoes, guys. We're getting there. So ClickFunnels templates are so ugly. I'm sorry, again, the bias thing, but they're so ugly. I mean, they look like they're from 2005. They have this there's this thing that everybody swears by. It's like this Brunson box. It's this dotted line box, and there's this blinking arrow in there with a checkbox so that you can do your order bump. Okay, great. So there's an order bump box in there, but it looks like it's from MySpace, man. It's like you should have some music playing in the background and some like repeating background wallpaper or something. It's bad. And a lot of the ClickFunnels guys will tell you, well, website design really isn't important anymore. And that is dead wrong. I mean, maybe Russell says that, but this is something I disagree with him on, because this should be my motto. You have 10 seconds to attract someone on your website and get them moving down the page or to the next step, or you will lose them forever. So if you want to keep them moving down the page, you need something engaging. Something that looks like it's from 1997 is not going to be engaging, or 2005 is not engaging. You need to keep up with design trends. That's actually a very important part of keeping people on the page. So even though I just said all of that ClickFunnels templates are ugly, it's actually possible to make a ClickFunnels template that looks good. But if you want to do that, you have to go to something called templatebuilder.io, or there's probably some others, to build your pages on there. So what I just said to you, listen closely, is you have to have a template builder to build a template builder so that you can be you can make pages that look really good on ClickFunnels. That's ridiculous. That's completely ridiculous, and it drives me crazy. Like I said, I've seen great pages on ClickFunnels, but every time I do, it's because they've taken that outside funnel step to build their pages onto ClickFunnels, which just begs the question for landing pages, which is their biggest part of this platform, what's the point? Why are we paying you $297 a month for something that I have to pay somebody else even more to use? Like, come on, come on. With WordPress, there are hundreds of templates because it's a third of the web runs on WordPress. So there's hundreds and thousands of them. There's plug and play designs, and they're for a whole bunch of different uses. So even though they're not always funnel focused, there's a bunch that are just focused purely on the funnel. So depending on what you're looking for, you can be looking for something with a very full experience, or you can be looking for a funnel directed theme, and that allows you to have a lot more flexibility. It allows for a fuller experience for your users, and it allows for you to build out those pages in that funnel direction without having to be restricted to the funnel itself, with allowing for people to explore if they need to. Okay, so template builder comparisons. ClickFunnels, I mean, you can't win because you have to have a template builder on top of your template builder, really. You have to have two builders to make something look good, whereas the themes and the build out ease on WordPress is numerous. Like you can't win, I'm sorry. So it goes to WordPress. I think WordPress is gonna get that one, so it's 2 for WordPress, 1 for ClickFunnels, and let's see how ease of use is gonna take us, and let's see where we get to next. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you're liking this at this point, please make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell. Also, let me know in the comments, where are you feeling right now on this video? So are you thinking more like you're gonna go with ClickFunnels or WordPress? Is my bias just too thick for you to get past? Or what are you thinking? So let me know in the comments which one you're going for and a little bit about why. So A/B testing on ClickFunnels is really easy, actually. This is one of the really strong things about it, where you can just kind of copy over your page variation and add a certain amount of traffic that goes to it, and it'll do the split automatically. And you can just kind of watch how the conversion rate goes for each of them. So that's very simple, but I also find that it's super buggy. I mean, I have domain variations going offline all the time. That's for domains that are like native to the system and ones that are hosted on like GoDaddy. I also have problems where certain buttons haven't worked very well. I've had PayPal just straight up not work on this system. And not only that, but some of the other things are very confusing, like domain forwarding. If you wanted to forward a specific URL to another URL, it's a totally different URL. So for instance, I want to go from levelmeup.com/levelmeup to expertmarketer.io/levelmeup, then it's sometimes going to send you from levelmeup.com/levelmeup back to levelmeup.com/levelmeup. It's really weird. It doesn't make any sense. So that's really confusing. And then the URL slug situation is awful. You have 3 separate levels of URL for one page. So there's a funnel level URL, there's a step level URL, and there's a page level URL. That's 3 separate URLs for one page. And I understand kind of why they did it. I mean, you've got to find some way to split them when you're doing a split test, but it's just always like that, and they add these numbers at the end of your slug, so it's really ugly. If you want to send people to /order-now, it'll send them to /order-now 2567824. It's really weird. So I don't particularly like that, and even though you can send people straight to /order form or whatever it is, it's still gonna forward them, so it's gonna be a redirect. And if there's enough of a redirect setup in your ClickFunnels, I've had it so that ClickFunnels pages just don't get through on Chrome because there's so many redirects. It goes, nope, there's too many redirects, timeout. So there's a lot of issues with it. It's really very buggy, and it's not super friendly in that way. Oh, and customer support. I have to talk about customer support. Customer support is the weirdest situation I've ever encountered. They don't seem to prioritize it at all. And the way that they've gotten around it, because so many people complained about it, is they set up a chat. That's great. They did this in like the last 6 months, I think. But the chat is mostly manned by volunteers. My guy, you have 100,000 users. You're charging them between $97 and $297 a month. I think you can afford some full-time customer service guys. Because what happens is you have an issue, it goes to the volunteer. The volunteers are passionate, they're great, that's not a problem. But half the time your issue is very technical, they don't know how to answer it. And so then it goes to a customer service agent. And that customer service agent will respond to you in a day maybe. And so it'll take you a week. You could have a down funnel and it doesn't change anything. You could have a funnel that is completely out of service for a full day and it doesn't make them rush any more than if it was just like a simple, I have a .com versus a .org and I don't know which to go to, but everything is still working just fine, right? So that's really annoying. WordPress, I somewhat covered this in the template / theme build out, but there's a lot of that blank stuff that when you first get there and it's not clear where to edit things, et cetera, et cetera. But there are far fewer bugs. I have to say, the bugs are handled by the team really quickly. This is probably because their team for fixing that sort of stuff is super big and they're managing a third of the internet. So they're kind of incentivized quite a bit to have those bugs fixed very quickly. But it doesn't pretend to be a CRM or customer support or an email service or anything like that. It is what it is. And so as a result of that, it just means that integrating with all of those other systems is really important. So it takes a little bit more time. So out of all of that, I have to say that even though there are some setup headaches with WordPress, I have to give the point to WordPress over ClickFunnels because WordPress really understands how to build a web page and how to make that beautiful and how to put everything together and avoids the bugs. And if you can't figure something out, even though there's no customer service set up, you can find the information online in minutes, all the time. So I have to give the point to WordPress. All right, so the last thing that we're gonna look at is the ecosystem. And what I mean by this is, how does it integrate with the rest of the web? When I'm looking at two systems, I wanna know that I don't have to go through some special crazy API programming to make these two systems talk to each other. I want it to just happen, or I wanna be able to use an easy system like Zapier to make it happen. So what I'm gonna look at first is native, and then we'll get to Zapier in just a second. But I want to say first off that this is not a fair fight. And I understand that because ClickFunnels has only 100,000 users. And so there's less of an incentive for people to want to integrate natively with this system versus WordPress, where it powers a third of the web. So I understand that there's not a fair fight here, but I'll make the comparison a little more even in the end. So I'll explain that in a second. But so first let's look at native. So native integrations, there are a few on ClickFunnels, not a lot. It doesn't integrate with some really big things like HubSpot, so that's kind of a problem to me. I would want to see that it integrates with those higher end systems. It has a few, it has ActiveCampaign, that's great, but a lot of the really big ones it doesn't have. It's very limited in that way. Hey there, this is Future Trent, just editing that video, that one there, the one that you're watching right now. And I just wanted to let you know that I made a mistake and HubSpot actually is on ClickFunnels. That's all I had. WordPress, on the other hand, has tons of plugins. There's something for everything on the web. There's probably for every single application on the web, you can probably find a WordPress plugin. Because WordPress is so gigantic, it makes sense that people are gonna want to integrate with WordPress and they're gonna feel more incentivized by that. So you can pretty much guarantee that whatever integration you're looking for, you're gonna find something to do with it on WordPress. Otherwise, let's say we look at something like Zapier. So on Zapier, you have options for WordPress and for ClickFunnels. It's just much more limited for ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels doesn't have a lot of action and trigger possibilities through Zapier. I think that's probably because Zapier itself hasn't programmed them in, but it's also because Zapier is less incentivized with a system like that than they are for WordPress, which they want to have a lot of flexibility for, so it's gonna be much easier to make things happen. Okay, so let's see if we can put these on the same level so that we can make a better comparison. Let's make it a fair fight. So let's say that either WordPress is only worth 100,000 subscribers or ClickFunnels is worth a third of the web as well, and so they're just head to head. It's still gonna be WordPress. And the reason that it's gonna be WordPress is because ClickFunnels is a closed system. So all of that proprietary information is ClickFunnels information. The contacts list stays in ClickFunnels. Everything stays in ClickFunnels. It's much harder to build those plugins for ClickFunnels because you have to have direct agreements there. Whereas with WordPress, it's an open source system. Anybody can build whatever they want. You can make your own paid plugins, whatever you want to do. So WordPress is a much easier system to build into. And as a result of that, it's going to be much easier to find plugins because anybody who wants to build one can just go do it. And so it makes it much easier. So I'm still going to give this point to WordPress even when you make it an even keel. Final decision, guys. Here we go. I know it's going to shock you, but I think we know the winner is WordPress. ClickFunnels says that it does everything, but it just doesn't do anything very well. It doesn't have very good emailing setup. It doesn't do good deliverability. You can't set up web pages that look good without having a second template builder. Just makes me really mad. It's expensive, it's a bad CRM, it's not worth the money. Whereas WordPress knows what it is, it sticks to what it is. If you as a user want to build something out and you know how to program, by all means go for it. Otherwise, you can use your ActiveCampaign or your other email services, and you can just build out those other services around your WordPress. And so instead of having a ClickFunnels setup, you have this ClickFunnels alternative that, even though it took a little bit longer to set up, it was just much more smooth overall, and it makes for a much better experience. In any case, guys, you are gonna pick what you wanna pick, right? You're gonna pick WordPress if that's what you want. You're gonna pick ClickFunnels if that's what you want. It's up to you. So I'm not gonna beat you over the head with it. I'd love to know which one that you picked. So make sure that you let me know in the comments which one you did, why you did it, or if you're still on the fence, let me know that too. Just shoot me a comment, shoot me a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell, do all the things, and make sure that you keep your head up and your eyes open for my next video. And that's it for me. I will catch you next time.